morning and welcome one and all. This is our first series on the IEEE 10s TV. We have a very special guest with us, Ramesh. Let me give a quick introduction, though he needs not too much of introduction in the Hyderabad space. Ramesh is the Professor of Co-Innovation at IIIT Hyderabad and also the Chief Innovation Officer Interim of the Telangana State Innovation Cell. After about 25 years in product R&D space, in December 2005, Ramesh moved to full-time into academics. As a Professor of Co-Innovation, he is currently leading the research and innovation outreach at IIIT Hyderabad. Ramesh is also helping start and grow the Technology Transfer Office, the Co-Innovation Labs, Entrepreneur on Residence Program, and the Center of Innovation and Entrepreneurship. He's also been an adjunct faculty for the middleware systems at IIIT Hyderabad since 2002. And a visiting faculty at IIT Hyderabad, member of the governing board of incubators at IIIT Hyderabad, IIT Hyderabad and BITS Pilani Hyderabad campus. Until recently, he was a center head and vice president of products, Progress Software India, and responsible for leading the product development at the Hyderabad Development Center. Hey Ramesh, thanks a lot for your time. We really appreciate that.
Thanks Aditya, thanks for the opportunity.
Absolutely. So Ramesh, is this the best time for startups and entrepreneurs in Hyderabad? What is the support system that really exists today?
I mean, at some level, like starting up, any time is as good as any other, right? But that said, I think the peer support environment is getting much better. It's been getting better over the years. Every year gets better than the previous year. But in the last couple of years, there's been a solid delta in terms of the momentum that's got built. Like for instance, like when we started our incubator, we were the only incubator in the city, 2008. Today, there are almost like 20 incubators. And then at least 40, 50, 60 co-working spaces. Few of them are very large, like 91 Springboard and such. So, which is a good sign. I mean, many of these have started in the last 3-4 years. And THub has had a good momentum as well. Not to the activity per se, it's there anyway, but more importantly, THub has managed to get some fantastic visibility to the city and what's happening in the city. So I think it's, yes, the environment is very good. The support environment has got much wider. It's always been a highly networked setup. One of the most networked support environments in the country is in Hyderabad. Like the various enablers are very, very well known to each other. Well connected and also like actively help each other, so which is something that's not very common anywhere else in the country. So all good. I think it's a fantastic time to start up right now.
Oh, thanks Ramesh. Let's say I'm a wannabe entrepreneur and I just have an idea. What are my really next rational steps? Is that all that I need? What exactly should be my next steps?
See, most of the wannabe entrepreneurs either come from the industry or sometimes from the student, but most of them are from the industry. And when you're working in a large company, you never get a full view of your the product or the project you're working on. Like you never understand exactly why something is happening, who's wanting it, why do they want it, what is the problem that they're trying to solve. You get a functional spec in some form or the other and then you just implement it. So unfortunately, very few people in the industry have that whole product perspective or the market perspective. And so an wannabe entrepreneur is going to start from that disadvantage in terms of the prior experience. So the first thing that somebody should do is like just understand a little bit more on the customer side of it. Like often we get caught up in the technology and how to do it. Well, that's very, very important, but that's not the starting point. If there is no opportunity, if nobody wants it, it doesn't matter how fancy your solution is, nobody's going to use it. Understanding the users, understanding exactly why they have a problem, and how is the problem being addressed? Because there's not going to be any problem that is completely unaddressed today. Right? In some form, there will be some solutions, ideal or not. Understanding what those solutions are, understanding the gaps in those solutions. Like you can't say nobody else is doing this using a mobile app with a blue screen.
Correct.
That doesn't matter, right?
Absolutely.
At the end of the day, what matters like who's solving the problem, whether they're using technology and solving it, manually and solving it, or like however it's solved doesn't matter. Every way of solving the problem is a competition for you. It's an alternate for your product.
Right.
Understanding like with those in place, where are the issues? The issue may not be with everybody. Also, right? It may be certain type of users or certain type of activities where the problem might be.
That's right.
Understanding those gaps, right? White spaces in the solution today. Right? Where there's a problem, there are some solutions, and there are unaddressed white spaces. understanding those is very, very important before you start. Because that's the opportunity you're going to go after. Everything else comes after that, technology and all that. Like say, understanding the customer and the need is the most important.
So vetting is what you're saying, vet the idea well.
Purely from a customer needs standpoint.
Customer needs perspective.
Most tech entrepreneurs, that's where they fail miserably.
Right. And is it the market research that, I mean, these guys who really come up have no idea on the market itself. Is that a bad move in the first place? You do vet the market well, understand how the market is, understand.
No, see, it's unlikely that everybody will know everything anyway.
Yes,
so it's okay if they don't know, but it's important to understand that this is very, very important.
That's right.
And then do whatever it takes to understand. So it doesn't mean that you go do an MBA to understand markets.
That's correct. Yeah.
Like somebody can do an MBA and still may be clueless when it comes to, like, say, specifically the education market. Right? So it's they're all general education. So a lot of this perspective comes only when you are out there in the field doing stuff. Right? That's where you're going to get. So it's unfair to expect that everybody knows everything, or somebody knows something very, very well. So it's okay if you don't know, but you have to make an effort to know. That's the most important. If you're going to pick a product in that area. And also, like, when you start, any idea has to start with a personal connection, right? It has to, in some form, it should be from an idea arising out of your personal experience, or an idea that you came across and it very closely connected, right? That's also important. I mean, it's not about going and doing the best idea out there. It's going and doing the best idea that connects with you. And when it connects, you're likely to go, maybe you have a background already, depending on why it's connecting with you. Even if there's no background, it's easier to go and pick up because something you like, it's connecting with you, right, at a deeper level. So you're probably more open to going and exploring. That's also very important.
Sure. So the startups fail. How's the situation in Hyderabad, and is that the norm?
See, failure is again subjective. Failure doesn't mean like the startup has gone out of business, right? The failure measure is generally that when you start a startup, you're not doing it because you want to give employment to two people, or just you want to earn your salary, right? When you start a startup, you are looking at an idea that's holding a lot of promise, and that's going to grow non-linearly with time, with resources, and with money, and with people. So that's the most important aspect of a startup. So failure is often not that the startup went out of business. The failure is that the hope with which they started out doesn't pan out, right? That non-linear scaling doesn't happen for all kinds of reasons. So if you look at that as a measure that it's not that they failed, it didn't become a success. You look at it that way, then yes, 92% of them did not succeed by the conventional measures of a startup success. But fail is a very hard word. I won't use the word fail. I would say like 8 to 10% of the startups click very well, and others might still be okay. I mean, like, it's not a bad deal. Like, if you're going to create employment for 10 people and take care of yourself, it's okay. As a business, it's not a bad thing at all. Right? But then you don't start a startup to create that level of. So you want it to click in a big way. That clicking in a big way doesn't happen for too many. Right? I mean, when we say big way, I'm not even talking about like go all the way like to the likes of Flipkart or such. Those are all only lottery tickets. It just happens sometimes. But it is keep scaling and grow. Like you grow to like few crores to few tens of crores revenue to maybe like few hundred crores. It's a good for a startup. That's very good.
Is building a startup with a massive exit really a bad idea? People say, hey, I really want to go and get into a massive exit and be taken over by somebody, and I start with that initiative.
I mean, you start with that initiative, like then your focus is not on the right things. And like, I don't think you can work towards a massive exit, right? You can work towards a success, and the success might lead to a massive exit. You cannot work towards a massive exit, right? So sometimes some people do say that, okay, they've chosen to be in a technology area where their the primary customers can only be large companies.
Right.
And if the large companies are the primary customers, then quite possibly one of them acquires them. I mean, there may be some such considerations in the thinking, but you can't say like, I'm going to work towards an acquisition. That's not the right thing to do, and it's
Sure.
I don't even believe it's necessary. You work towards making it as successful as possible.
Sure.
An acquisition might happen along the way.
Sure, Ramesh. How is the Indian startup scenario in the deep tech market? People are talking about AI, machine learning, IoT. So where are we really headed, and how successful are some of these startups?
So if you look at the kind of ideas starting, that's very good. Lately, like in the last year or so, we are seeing more and more deep technology ideas. So where like some of them in the machine learning space, computer vision, language technologies like NLP and such, conversational systems, of course a lot of AR, VR, VR is more content, but still there are some of them are good using technology as well, creating some technology solutions. IoT is very, very abused. Anybody that has any kind of even the smallest sensor connected to a phone considers themselves to be IoT. But that said, even as noisy as it might be, there are some good IoT companies coming up. Very, very good ones. None of them have become big yet because they're all like maybe less than a couple of years old, most of them. But some of them are holding fantastic promise.
In terms of technology itself, where are the startups in Hyderabad seeing good success now?
See, we're very diverse. It's a large city, it's a large ecosystem, large environment. IT industry employs 500,000 people. We have probably one of the largest number of engineering colleges in the city, all the research labs. And so I think it's very, very wide. I don't know if there's any particular technology that is in vogue or that is working well. At some level, that should not be a consideration even. See, at some level, like you should be going after problems and using whatever most relevant technology to solve the problem, and not say like I'm going to build a Java solution and then start looking for problems. It's the other way around, right? You look for problems and then see like if you have the required expertise to build the solution for the problem, and if not, just move on to something else. But you can't force fit a technology onto a problem.
Correct.
If that's not the best. So I won't look so much on technology. That said, like there are some sectors where we are very, very strong. Life sciences is one place where we are super strong. Probably one of the best locations. Bangalore somewhere close maybe, but I do believe Hyderabad is still better than Bangalore for life sciences. Both like from academic institutions, research institutions, all the CSIR labs, the drug research work happening, pharma companies, MNCs like Novartis present here, the large hospital chains. And it's a fantastic combination of things that's happening in the city. So as a domain, life sciences or medical technologies is definitely one area where I think we are very, very well positioned. Though not as many startups are coming, lately we are seeing more and more. But if you look at a unique strength, that's one definitively unique strength.
Sure. Is it because of the colleges that we have or the engineering institutions that's the impetus, or is it essentially something else, people migrating in? What is essentially driving the healthcare startups or life sciences in general?
I think it's just the incumbent, right? I mean, if you look at it, like who's going to start, right? Somebody in that space is likely to start, right? So, which means like the more of life science companies or life science work happening in the city, the more likely that somebody from their background is going to. When you start, you're going to, in some form, build on your experiences.
Right.
So, if somebody has been in like some deep IT in life sciences space, they're quite likely to start in the life sciences space. So, there's one reason why it might happen. The second reason is, okay, regardless of how it happens, like we often see like the technology is, pure tech is trying to create a device that can solve a medical problem just because they understand the technology well and they see a need for that. But they don't understand the medical domain that well. Now, such companies, if they want to get help, fantastic help is available in the city. Right? Probably the best help compared to anywhere else. So these are some factors, like in terms of the incumbent ecosystem that might breed the new entrepreneurs, or if entrepreneurs coming outside the ecosystem, the ecosystem is the one that's going to provide them support. So these are all some, and then often like these are multi-disciplinary in nature. Right? I mean, you have technology, you have sciences, you have medical, and often they're multidisciplinary. So, which is again a good thing in the city. All of those aspects of the life sciences exist.
Okay, the next question that I have is, why is there generally a lower turnout in the enterprise space versus consumer space? Is it the funding or is it the ideas?
Being lower in enterprise than consumer, you mean?
Yes.
I don't know. See, consumer, like I see, again, if you look at ideas connecting with you and your experiences, I mean, all of us are consumers, right? So it's easy to think of consumer ideas because we are all consumers. So we think we understand consumers well. But that's it. I don't believe there are more consumer ideas than enterprise ideas. I think it's more the other way around. There are more enterprise solutions, B2B. Maybe they're B2B to C, but not direct B2C.
Not B2C.
Not as many. So I think it's the other way around. There are more enterprise solutions than consumer solutions.
Sure. Ramesh, while we cannot underestimate a good business plan, how critical is it to have a business plan along with your ideas vetted very well?
Extremely critical. So again, business plan, the term sounds very managementish, right? Yeah. Fancy term that you would engage a PwC or some consulting firm to do the plan for you. At the end of the day, for a startup, the business plan is simple, right? The plan is, when you start especially, just to understand the market and the market need, right? Understand the market need. Not just saying like, I mean, today nobody has solved this problem very well and like we are solving it. Not just at that level. Go deeper and say like, these are all the alternatives available today. Understand those alternatives very well. Understand how is your product position with respect to those alternatives. It may not be good in all the cases. You can say like, okay, like for this use case, if your solution is targeting schools, it's not like every school may buy your solution. There'll be some conditions to say like, okay, like for these kind of schools, the existing solution is good enough. These kind of schools under these conditions, like I mean, for it's only the problem is only for middle school or problem is only for high school, right? Where whatever. So you have to understand saying that like, for whom, under what conditions is your product the most compelling solution?
Absolutely.
And this study of the market and coming out with a plan based on the market, coming out with a product plan and a business plan based on the market and the market data is the key. And that is imperative. I mean, like you don't have one way or the other, if you're going to be successful, you will figure this out.
Sure.
Right? If not, you can't be successful. You can be lucky and successful, but not otherwise. So better to figure out, or it's essential that you figure out as early as possible, because it's not just about figuring out the market. It's about building something, because you can build a very generic product. You can take this microphone, you can build a generic microphone, or you can build a microphone for such interviews, like sitting on the table.
Absolutely.
When you design for this purpose, this microphone is best for this purpose.
Correct.
May not be good when you go outdoor.
Right.
But you can say that my microphone is best for this use. So if you understand the use, your priority, you may eventually say that, okay, the same product, I will modify it a little and make it usable for other use cases. But you build it best for your primary use case first. Because that's where you're going to enter and make a mark. Once you make a mark and you get known in that use case, you can go to the adjacent spaces and kind of extend the product as required.
Absolutely.
So knowing the market is very important from both standpoints, that you know that the opportunity is here, and also to make sure you divert your precious little resources towards your best opportunity and not just a very wide segment.
Sure. Ramesh, how is the e-governance space with the smart cities and those opportunities really coming up with the government's impetus? Are the startups really looking into that space? Are we seeing a good opportunity there?
So, I mean, all these smart cities also, like by government mandate, have to have a innovation angle. So, which is a good thing. I mean, as part of the whole smart city, one among the many checklists they have is that they have to have an incubator. They have to have an active startup initiative to look at innovation for smart cities. So that's a good thing. But then all said and done, it is government. Right? So I don't know. I mean, like startups, like I don't see too many yet. I see more SMEs and other companies getting in, but startups getting into smart cities, I don't see it yet. And I don't even know how we say at the end of the day, like smart city is part of a municipal administration, which is part of the government. So you can't wish away as much as like the smart city, the few smart city administrations that I've met. They're all good, different from conventional government, but you look at them, they all come from the government. At least they have consultants, a lot of consultants. But then at the top, the decision-making layer is all people deputed from government, right? So I don't know. I mean, while the intent seems nice, I don't yet see how practical it is.
So thanks a lot, Ramesh. We really appreciate your time, and thanks for talking to IEEE TEMS TV Hyderabad section. We look forward to many more such interactions in the future. And thanks again for a wonderful time.
Thank you so much, Aditya. Thanks. I hope this helps people that are looking to do tech startups. So wish them, all of them, the very best.
Thanks a lot. Thanks, everybody.